Do you ever feel like you're being watched all the time? That everyone's eyes are just glued to you, even when you're doing nothing, you're just standing still. You put yourself on mute in meetings, and it feels safer to pretend that the mic's not working, that the mic's broken. Or you avoid phone calls because even small talks feel overwhelming. Or just standing in line and correcting a wrong order makes you feel like you are under a spotlight. This is not just shyness or being introverted, it is something deeper than that. It's that constant, exhausting feeling of being judged, watched, evaluated, and scrutinized, even when no one is really watching, no one is really paying that much attention, no one is really judging you that harshly. And how difficult it is to live like that, intensely aware and highly anxious all the time. Definitely more complicated than just being introverted or shy. So forget about, transforming into a social butterfly overnight. But let's first talk about this feeling, the being watched one, this uncomfortable feeling. That is what social anxiety feels like. That is what it is. The feelings that have the power to make us withdraw from our own lives. It will make you feel like you're hiding, you're trying to hide in plain grounds. And it is not the fear of people or disliking them, but it's one of being seen. And why? Because sometimes it starts way early, back in your childhood. Maybe you were overly criticized or shamed for trivial things that didn't really matter as much. Your caregivers mostly had an, overreaction to everything, even if it was coming from a place of love. Or you went through severe bullying at some point in your life, and it's showing up in different areas of your life now. Or maybe overprotectiveness, which robbed you of chances to build social confidence and social connections. So life happened basically, and now we are left with social anxiety somehow. And for the longest time, that's what exactly happened to me, making me a ghost in my own life until I faced it. But before we talk about solutions, let's get one thing clear. The opposite of social anxiety is not being outgoing or the life of the party, certainly. This is not possible, even. Just try it. It's not extroversion, it's acceptance, even in the discomfort. That's what makes overcoming feel possible and attainable. It's not about changing your personality, your whole personality, into an extroverted person. It's about changing how you relate to yourself now, from now on. Because what we are feeling is not just some random weirdness. We are not crazy to feel that way. We have been through things that made us a certain way. So let's uncover what's actually happening in our brains when we feel this way before jumping to the solution part. A more logical reasoning helps you understand things more deeply. So, this part of our brain called amygdala goes on high alert in people with social anxiety, detecting threats that are not really dangerous. Meanwhile, the part of the brain that's meant to calm things down, the prefrontal cortex, struggles to do its job. And the result, you feel fear over everyday moments like speaking up, being looked at, or being judged, being watched, simple things that we can handle, even when the actual risk is very low than perceived. It's just the brain that has learned from bad social moments from your past or probably your childhood patterns, especially. And it just says, okay, let's stay safe. Let's avoid threats. Let's not be seen. Let's hide somewhere. Trying to head off any potential threat to your social standing. It's basically a protective mechanism, a response. So, at its very core, the brain is not our enemy. It's maybe more like an overzealous bodyguard. It's a response that likely developed over time for a reason to protect you. But it thinks it's working in your favor, but it's not really. It's shrinking your life in a way. It doesn't know that, but you know that. And here's the thing, the way through is not about suddenly becoming loud, outgoing or the center of attention. It's accepting the fact that this is one of my thorns and I have this social anxiety problem going on with me, which makes dealing with it feel more doable, less daunting. Let's not aspire to become the opposite version of ourselves, certainly. If you can work from there, start from there, that's brilliant. You don't have to become confident overnight, but you can accept a small part of yourself overnight and decide to not be ruled by it anymore. That's what is possible within a night. That's what you can do. You just need to engage and show up scared, not waiting for the fear to vanish completely or even slightly. It won't go away. You are still allowed to get nervous, still overthink text, still rehearse every word before speaking it in front of a group, still monitor yourself constantly. But now, at least you know how to show up. You are showing up now. Even messy and unsure is more than enough. Learn to walk alongside fear and not letting it run the whole show for you. Let the fear take its space and you take yours. You both can coexist. Don't give whole of your space to just fear or think that you need to take up all the space and there should not be any fear. Confident people have fear too. Social anxiety does not shrink because you become confident or perfect one day. It shrinks when you stop performing and start trying to be real. You start trying. We are not tired of fear or anxiety itself. We are tired of performing and performing correctly all the time. And anxiety comes from performing, not flowing, not by flowing or being. We need to stop seeing bad social moments and awkwardness as setbacks. So, what are we actually seeking really? Is it applause or is it something else? So, it really boils down to wanting acceptance at last. We basically want our own permission to be ourselves fully and authentically, and no one else's really. We tend to check our performance temperature based on other people. We look outside to check that. But what we really want, is to be okay with being awkward and clumsy sometimes, or maybe all the time. Permission to have those conflicting feelings like not knowing what to say, not wanting to be alone, but also not knowing how to belong. All these things can coexist, and you just want to give that permission to yourself, knowing the right people will still like you and handle the real you, and that we don't have to be the ghost in our own lives. We don't have to hide in plain grounds, plain sights, because it's not possible. The alternative, that hiding, it seems safe. We think invisibility would, protect us, but it leads to smaller life. It shrinks your life, and it will keep shrinking with each experience. True safety and fulfillment comes from engaging, even if slightly awkwardly, and staying with the fact that you tried and maybe laughed at yourself, and not with others' reactions. I think we are meant for more than just surviving, if not, living fully. So just think, where in your day to day life maybe you are putting up a bit of a performance, trying to be that perfect version of yourself, and what it might feel like, even if for a moment, if you just allowed yourself the freedom to just be, to just simply be, without striving, fixing, or performing for anyone, just resting in your own presence and doing things from that place. Imagine how fulfilling and easy life will become if we start living like that.